Some of the language I've heard and read around this project is, as I mentioned, disturbing. Talking about our residents that attend JMU, EMU, Ridgewater, Blue Ridge Community College, in an objectifying and belittling way is unacceptable to me. College students are residents of Harrisonburg and have the same rights and freedoms as any other resident.
Tuesday, during a Harrisonburg City Council meeting, Councilman Christopher Jones blasted residents who took part in a recent City Planning Commission meeting. The council's controversial agenda item was a request from Kathy Height with representatives of Madison Lucy Realty to rezone land on Reservoir Street and Foley Road.
To be really blunt, when I watched the Planning Commission meeting, I watched it and I rewound it and I watched it again because I couldn't believe the stuff that I was hearing people say. To like call JMU a culprit, the this and the they and the them. I mean, like condemning people and objectifying them.
You mean they, the commission, or certain individuals within the commission?
Oh, I heard it from the resident side and I heard it from the commission side. I'm saying when I watched it from an objective view and I'm listening to the language that's being used, I thought to myself immediately I thought, well man, if we were talking about any other group of people other than students, we wouldn't dare use this language.
When the issue came before the City Council for a vote, residents walked out.
Application in item 7E to allow multi-family buildings greater than 4 stories and or 52 feet in height, and that council determined that the conditions set forth in Harrisonburg City Code Section 10-3-55.6D.
Megan Austin lives near Foley Road and was one of the first to walk out. She shared with me why she abruptly left.
The most frustrating part was that they kept referring to JMU students as residents. Most of the JMU students that I have are in the area around me, they come here, they get their education, and they leave and go somewhere else. I know some local hometown JMU students, but typically they come here, do their education, and go. So there was no regard to the residents who want to live here long term and stay and invest and enjoy Harrisonburg for the city that it is. And my real concern is Harrisonburg going to be a city, or is it going to be a university that happens to have parts of a city around it?
Families and single-family homeowners are no better or no more important than a single person who lives in an apartment. As individuals, we are always moving up and down in a continuum of life. Sometimes that means home ownership, sometimes it means renting. It may mean you have an immediate family, or just a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or a partner. Or you may just be flat out single. Either way, if you're a resident of Harrisonburg, you should be treated as equal to all other residents. The people making the them and the they comments, or referring to people with my skin color, or our vice mayor's skin color, or Hispanic language speaking, or elderly, or people with varying disabilities, physical disabilities, we wouldn't accept it. We call them all types of words. We say they were racist. We say they have xenophobia. We say they're homophobic. We call them all types of things. But it seems like when it comes to students that attend college in Harrisonburg, people feel comfortable saying, oh, it's them and oh, it's they. Well, that's never going to be acceptable.
Councilman Jones is a James Madison University graduate. Jones says, in watching the Planning Commission meeting, there appeared to be prejudiced statements made among some commission members and some residents attending the meeting.
And furthermore, this is an African-American developer. I didn't want to go there tonight, but I'm going to go there. Because I haven't heard the critique I've heard about him. I hadn't heard about any other developer that's come across my desk in the last 5.5 years. I hadn't heard. But suddenly, I got all types of information and all types of personal opinions and everything else about this gentleman. And so it just started to bring out a side of our city that I hadn't really seen before. And I understand that people want things to be the way they were, but guess what? If people always wanted them to be the way they were, you would never be here, and I'd probably still be enslaved. But thank God somebody had the fortitude and the mindset to want to see some change. And a lot of that starts with language. So if we want to see an affordable housing change, we can't punish the developers from here. We need to work with the developers to see that happen.
Victoria Harris also walked out of the meeting after listening to council approve the new multi-family development.
I think they were disrespectful to the people in the neighborhood when they said we were not accepting of other people. That was a judgment made that was not grounded. When you drive through our neighborhood, we all know each other. We have many types of families in there. We do have students in there. And we all get along, and we have more of those signs up that say this is a town of equality. People have those signs in their yards. I don't know how they could make that assumption that we were not welcoming other people. And we would welcome having low-income housing or affordable housing on that property. We just don't want this huge monstrosity of a building and a huge parking lot that's going to flood our houses.
I believe it's in our best interest to have this building off Reservoir than a glut of more townhomes, which are by right subject to a variance approval, of course. I heard the request of those that threaten to move, and I would hate to see people move because of this building being built. However, as a person who not too long ago moved and who searched for a house for many, many years for my family, I know your house will sell, and it will sell fast, because houses in Harrisonburg are in high demand. And that price point and those styles of homes are crown jewels in Harrisonburg. We'd hate to see you go, but with the high demand for that bracket, I know your house will sell. So if you left, I would wish you the best, but we will welcome that new family that will come in.
And I don't know how Chris Jones could put down the Planning Commission. They did what they were supposed to do. They listened to us, and they gave reasons for their concerns. And they were good reasons. And he is not on that commission. I don't think he can judge their decision.
When Harrisonburg Vice Mayor Sal Romero used the word segregation, it led to more debate among the council.
I believe that if we, recently I was talking with multiple people, and you look at old student housing, many, not all, but you go in there and you see who lives there. A lot of people that look like me and people who've come from other countries and maybe some people of color. And that is creating some segregation in our state. And that is something that I would like for us to address more intentionally.
But I think that we have to be careful with language, which is why I made the comments I said before. Because no one is illegally segregating one group of individuals from another. People are falling where they land on the spectrum, unfortunately, because 60% of our population is asset limited, income constrained and employed, or they fall below, at poverty or below. That's the issue that we have. And when you talk about what those people look like, I mean, to be really blunt, it can't be but so many black people because there's only 5% African American.
Harrisonburg Mayor Dina Reed told the council the problem could be the city's comprehensive plan.
You never know. We don't dictate who can live, who can rent out where. But I keep going back to the comprehensive plan because that's supposed to be our guide. And if this is such an issue, it should be in there. Because when developers come, they're going by this. They're working with the staff. And this is their guide. And so how many times do we go back and say, well, this doesn't work? Well, why doesn't it work? We're following everything that you put in your comprehensive plan. So if student housing is an issue, then it needs to be in there. Because I also agree with Richard that if townhomes go in there, who's going to rent those townhomes for students? So you're going to say you're going to have the same issue. I don't need you talking to me. It's my time. It's the same issue. So if this is really an issue about student housing, we need to put it in a comprehensive plan. Mm-hmm. But then let's also be respectful of our students. They're half of our population.
That's right. That's right.
They're half of our population. And we need to figure out how we're going to live together. Because I really do get fed up when we just always like, we don't want the students here, we don't want them there. Well, they're half of Harrisonburg's population. You do understand that. They have a right to live in our neighborhoods.
Austin says she knows exactly what she wants from the city council.
I went to many of the planning commission the comprehensive plan meetings, and I got as involved as I possibly could. However, I don't think my voice was heard. And this whole conversation with regard tonight to mixed use, it was not intended to be implemented in the way that City Council chose to vote on tonight.
In Harrisonburg, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.